Good afternoon. My name is Daryl Laws with Appalachian State University's Center for Academic Excellence. Thank you so much for participating in Appalachian's 2018 Free Learning Conference. I'll be the technical support for this presentation. So if you have any technical issues, please call me at 828-262-4894. That number again, 828-262-4894. Or visit the Zoom support room, which can be found at the top of the Free Learning Conference schedule. And for first-time Zoom users, you can scroll to the bottom of the Zoom screen and icons will appear. Select the chat icon and feel free to send me a message. Also, at the end of this presentation, audio will be used for Q&A. Now, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce the presenter, Alana Baird, with Appalachian's Department of Mathematical Sciences and her Free Learning Conference 2018 presentation, VoiceThread, online presentations and discussions.
Thanks so much, Daryl. I hope you guys are all well today. Excuse me. And so I'm going to share my screen and go ahead and get right into this. Feel free to use the chat while I'm presenting, and then at the end, if you guys have questions, I am happy to answer them. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now and start my presentation. Let me do, and so VoiceThread. My name's Alana Baird, and I actually started in the spring doing a pilot for Appalachian State University, but I had used VoiceThread prior to this in my classroom strictly for presentations online. I have 94 students, 32 in each class. And if I give them a 10-minute presentation, it makes it where we don't have enough time to do anything else. And so I decided to use this program prior to the pilot just for that reason. But now that we've had it incorporated with our LMS, it has actually opened up a lot of new possibilities. And I will touch on that just a little bit today, but what I'm going to focus on mainly is just how to use VoiceThread in general, so that if you don't have integration with the LMS, then you can still see some of the possibilities that might be available to you. So today, what I'd like to begin with is telling you a little bit about what VoiceThread is in general. And then I'll walk you through the steps on how to actually create a VoiceThread. And at that point, I will allow you to go ahead and create an account if you'd like and follow along, but you don't have to. And I'm happy to send this PowerPoint to anybody who wants it afterwards. And that way you would have this as kind of a guideline to help you walk through it in the future. After that, I'll talk about how to maybe use VoiceThread in your classroom and the ability that you have with a pro account to create groups and why that's beneficial. And then I will talk a little bit about an integration with Moodle. And there are some maybe specifics for different LMSs, but and the one we have is Moodle based. So it might be a little bit different if you were to incorporate it through your own. But in general, I'll kind of go through some of the benefits of having that LMS integration. And then we will do a wrap up and answer any questions that you guys have. Here's some of the outcomes that I hope for you by the end of the session today. And I won't read those to you. So what we'll do is we'll begin with, what is VoiceThread? VoiceThread is a cloud-based application that you can create mixed media presentations and share them with anybody that you send the share link or that you share securely in groups. And with that, you can add your own comments, and you can add in videos, and you can add in pictures and any other type of presentation that you'd like. Share it with somebody, and then they have the ability to also come back and comment on your presentation later or even edit it. So it gives a lot of possibilities on creating this asynchronous kind of communication and collaboration that makes it super unique. So I do have a little video for you, and I'll go ahead and play it if it'll play. If not, I have it pulled up on another one. Okay, so give me just a second. All right. Okay, so if you would like this PowerPoint later, what this video is talking about is simply just what is VoiceThread. And it goes through and shows you how you can add different types of media. You can add pictures, you can add videos, you can download your PowerPoint presentations that you've already created and you can upload them into the program. And then you add comments to it and share it, and then others are allowed to come in and comment on what you've already presented. So this is just a nice way of showing it, but the YouTube video is not coming through, so we will just skip it. There is a link to it if you guys want to check it out later. Here are some pictures of some presentations that I've done with my students. And you could put in a picture as a background and have a discussion around that picture. And so you can see how I put some directions up here, and then you can have students comment to each other or make a reply. You can reply to them or they can reply to others. You can also bring in videos. And so this was a video off of Khan Academy talking about how you can learn anything. And so you can see my comments here where I had a directions for my students. And then right below it, you can see where I have the video itself, and then students started responding to it, and they had some kind of conversation about what they're seeing or how they feel about what they're seeing. Here is a presentation one of my students did, and hopefully this is going to play. Oh. So this was one of my students' presentations for a statistics project that I had them do. And what's nice about this program is you can bring in a picture, and that's what she did. She actually hand drew this graph. I have students bring in graphs from Excel and all sorts of different things. And then she was able to talk about it and discuss it so that it wasn't just a stagnant picture. Instead, she was able to highlight different features that were important to the discussion of the graph by using that doodling. And it makes it really interactive and a little bit more engaging than just a straight picture in an essay or something. Oh. So if you would like to, you are more than welcome to create a free account. So if you have a screen that you want to pop up and go ahead and kind of walk through this, you're more than welcome to. But if not, it's super easy process. You just visit VoiceThread's webpage, and then you click register in the upper right-hand corner, fill out all of your information, and they will send you an email with a link for verification. But I wanted to talk about the free account versus the pro account that you could decide to purchase. With the free account, you're only going to be limited to 5 voice threads, and the voice threads are limited to 50 slides. So if you have a huge presentation, then maybe you're not going to be able to put all of the slides in there. And you're only allowed audio and text comments. You're not going to be able to do any video comments unless you go to the pro account. And you can only share via a share link. There is no secure sharing that comes with that pro account. The other thing that I really don't like about the free account is that there's no threaded comments, which means that you can't reply to another person who is watching the presentation and who's made a comment on it. And as a teacher, there are some downfalls because you can't manage any student accounts. So you can't put them into different groups and give them different assignments and stuff like that. But if you were to decide to adopt or buy a single instructor license, then you could have these different features, like you could have a student account where you assign them different assignments, a watch, a create, or a comment assignment. You can also organize each of your different classes and create different groups so that you can make those groupings smaller so they have better conversations. and you get unlimited voice threads that you can comment on, create. There's not going to be any slide limits. It is like $79 a year for K through 12 and $99 for higher education. Or you could go with a site license if it was something that your entire school was interested in maybe adopting. So if you guys want to, and if you're kind of walking through this, you're more than welcome to go ahead and create an account and then walk through these steps with me. I'm going to show you guys the basic steps that are needed in order to create a voice thread, and there's really only 5. You click create, you add media, whatever type of media that you'd like to add. You edit it if you need to, so you move around your slides, you maybe add some links in there, and then you add your comments. And your comments are the ones from the presenter's point of view, where you're saying, this is what I'm showing you on the slide, or this is what this video is going to talk about. After you get it kind of finalized, you're going to send it out and share it with others. And then they might come back and add comments as well. But that would be the only steps that you would have to take as a creator. So we will go ahead and skip to that second step, which is to add media. And I wanted to talk about some of the different types of media you can add. You have several different options when they show up on your screen. You're going to click this Add Media button in the middle of your screen. And when you do that, you'll get this list of options here. You have your computer. You can upload a lot of different files. The only ones that are excluded are those that are listed there. You can add from the media sources, which are provided by VoiceThread themselves, and include things like Khan Academy. There's also, you can upload from your own voice threads. You can upload from the New York Public Library, from Flickr, or from your own Google Drive. You can also do audio recordings. So if you wanted to just use your microphone built into your computer, then you could record a comment or a slide that actually has just audio recording and would have just a blank screen. Then you could also do a webcam photo or a video. And then you also have the option of a URL. But a URL is not exactly what you're thinking. It is going to be just a link to the site itself, and it will import the largest media file that is on that site, not an actual web page itself. It won't bring the entire thing in. You can put up to 500 slides on each voice thread if you have a pro account, and if not, you're limited to 50 if you have the basic free account. So I'm going to go in a little bit more into each different type. So here's your computer uploads. You can do documents, presentation files like or PowerPoints, videos, images, audio files. I would recommend that if you do want to import any of these things off of your computer, it's a good idea to go ahead and switch them to PDF format so that it preserves all of your formatting and so it doesn't do anything crazy when you import it. And another recommendation is what you see here on the screen. If you'll switch your document layout from landscape to orientation, or from landscape orientation, or from the vertical orientation to a more landscaped orientation, you'll have a little bit more viewing room, and it makes it a little bit easier for your viewers to see. Here are all of your media sources that I was talking about. So you have options to import from your own VoiceThread. And if you do that, you can import the entire VoiceThread or just individual slides from the VoiceThreads you've already created. This is really nice if you're trying to make ones that you've already made before. You don't have to redo the whole, remake the whole wheel. You just have to bring in ones you've already created. Some other options are the Khan Academy, the Flickr, and the New York Public Library, which gives a large source of media that you have available at your fingertips that you just got to search through and find something that helps to promote whatever you're talking about. And it's also nice that you can import from your own Google Drive. You can always preview whenever you look at a media source, you can preview it, make sure that's the one that you want. And then as soon as you import it, it brings it right in. It puts a link to the actual file. So for example, you bring in a Khan Academy video, it will put a link on the slide that links directly to that actual video. And this was the last option that I wanted to talk about. I feel like the videos from your webcam and the photos from your webcam, self-explanatory, but this URL I did want to mention one more time. So when you bring in a URL, or if you use that as your media, what happens is it does not bring in the actual website. It simply imports the largest media file from that website. So, for example, I have here, I show you that in the little yellow box on the first screen is a link to the website that I had originally wanted to put into into the VoiceThread. And so I was hoping maybe it would pull this picture that's in the middle of the second screen that shows all of the different types of graphs, because I was like, oh yeah, that'll be a good presentation of a data visualization website. But instead, it pulled the little Twitter symbol down at the very bottom of the screen. And so you just have to be careful. Sometimes it imports it well, and sometimes it will bring in the exact media that you want it to, but sometimes it doesn't. You can link directly to the actual media source that you want it to pull from the website, but I don't know enough about that. And so that's the actual picture I got when I imported the data visualization catalog website. So some other things to note: it is now compatible with YouTube, and that's a new addition as of just a couple of months ago. But things like Vimeo, those still do not link directly to the actual video. They link to just a different, it'll show a different media file on there. So instead, what you should do is download that file and then upload it from your own computer. So once you have all of your media in there, you can see the thumbnail view of what you have so far in your VoiceThread by clicking on the little thumbnail view in the bottom right-hand corner. And that shows you all of the different pages that have been added to the VoiceThread itself. And you can easily edit this by simply just dragging and dropping each of your different slides. You can move things around, and you can always click that little plus symbol to add even more media. Some other things that you might want to edit: you might want to edit the actual title of the slides. So you can add these names down here on the slides themselves if you'll click the little pencil button in the bottom left-hand corner of each individual page. And you can also, so you can add your title, but you can also add links, which is really nice. So what I always recommend to my teachers who walk through this program is, if you want to link to another website, instead of using that URL media, just simply put you a picture background and then put a link to whatever website you want your students to go to, so that they're not confused by what's being brought in, what your media source is, and you don't have any of those problems with the bad media being imported. But you still get an active link, and it'll look like this. It'll be that little active link symbol over in the right-hand corner when you produce it and send it out. And so they can click on that little link, and it'll take them to whatever website they are looking at. You can also add a title to your whole VoiceThread, and you can do that. It'll be above each one of your slides. So in your thumbnail view, it'll have the name of the actual VoiceThread, and beside it, it will say edit. And so when you click on that, the very first screen that will pop up is the title slide. And so you can add a title, you can add a description of the actual VoiceThread, and add tags to make it easily searchable. On the second slide or on the third slide, I think I did the second one on the next page. On the third slide, or on this third kind of tab, you've got the option to add some cover art. So this is nice in case you have a whole bunch of voice threads within your own home screen, because you can easily pick out which one goes with each different thing. And on the second tab, this is the one that gives you a lot of options. As a creator, you have the option, as long as you have a pro account, to enable threaded commenting. You can also allow people to download your VoiceThread or share your VoiceThread, or add to your VoiceThread with additional comments, or actually add slides to it. There's a lot of different options that come right here on this playback option tab. And this is what allows you as a creator more control over where your VoiceThread is visible and what people can do with it. After you have added all of your media and edited all of the things that you want to edit, like adding a title, moving around your slides, anything like that, you can move on to the second step, which is to comment. And it shows up here on your steps. It says always add media, comment, and then share. So we're going to talk now about commenting and each of the different types of comments that you will be allowed to make. As long as you have a pro account, you can always enter text comment. And this will be the go-to for students unless you require voice comments or video comments. And so you will get a paragraph written in these little bitty boxes. So I do recommend to my teachers that they require students to actually use a video comment or an audio comment, because otherwise you will be reading, and that's not the point of VoiceThread. You can also add these audio comments, and you can either use your microphone, or you can call in on your cell phone or a direct landline phone and make a recording there. My students actually recommended, and I passed this along to VoiceThread, that they should be allowed to text with their phone as well and add text comments that way. So they're looking into that. They said that that was a good idea, but it wasn't in their capabilities yet. And then you can always record a video comment with your webcam, or if you have comments already downloaded on your computer, either in text or in video format, you can always upload those as well. And you have several different options as a presenter. You can either do a multi-slide comment, which they call an M5, where you would start recording a comment and then just flip through each one of your slides in your PowerPoint or whatever, your pages in your VoiceThread, and you would do an entire presentation all in one recording. And so that's that multi-slide M5 comments. Or you can add as many slides or as many comments as you'd like to each individual slide. And this is where it's kind of nice, because you can preview what you've said, you can make sure that it's exactly what you want, and you can always delete or reorder any smaller comments that you add to a slide. Another thing you can do is you can pair your comments with the media itself. So you can either have on the left-hand side of your VoiceThread screen, it'll show all of the people who have commented and each of the different comments individually. Or if you want to, you can actually pick your comments up and drag them over to highlight a specific region. So that's shown right here on the left-hand side of your screen. You've got just the original. This is what it'll look like when you begin recording or typing in comments. But you can also pick that whole thing up and drag it across your screen and pair it with a specific region of your actual page. Another thing that you can do to emphasize media is called doodling. And you can also zoom, but I'll start with the doodling first. With doodling, what's nice is you can pick from a variety of colors, and all you have to do is go down to the bottom of the screen. Once you hit comment, you'll say comment, and you'll do either an audio or a video. and you'll hover across the bottom of the screen, and it'll pull up these pencils here, and you can choose from a variety of colors. You can either make it fade so that it'll go away after a few minutes, or if you want it to stay, you can actually change it to no fade. Anything that you do while you are presenting, while you're recording a comment, will actually be shown while you are or while it's playing back. So for example, if you zoom while you're talking and you highlight a specific region of your screen and then you circle it with your pencil that you're doodling with, your viewers will actually see all of those same steps that you take during your recording of your comment. And this is a new feature that VoiceThread actually just came out with, like within the last month. They have created it so that when you add a video comment to a video itself, your comments used to only go right here at the very beginning of the video or right here at the very end of the video. And so it would show up either above it or below it. But now when you record a comment and you want it to go into a specific point in the video and you want to highlight that specific moment in the video itself, when you go to do playback, it will actually put a little tag right here and it'll show where your comment is associated with in the actual video timeline. You can scrub through videos and while you're talking and highlight different regions of the video within one comment. So you could start it playing here and then say, okay, I'm going to skip to right here, and it will automatically do that. And then you can continue talking and continue recording your comment. This too is also a actual video on YouTube, and I'm sure it's not going to play, so I'm just going to go ahead and skip it right now. But if you do want the link later, it will be in the PowerPoint, and I'm happy to share it with you. So the very last step that you have as a creator of a VoiceThread is to share it. And so, oh, and I think I highlighted the wrong thing. We should be up here on share, my bad. But what you're going to do is after you're finished editing it, you can either share it via a link, you can embed it in another website, you can share it with anybody who is in your list as a contact, or if you have a pro account and you have groups, you can share it with an entire group all at one time. What's nice about VoiceThread is that it has a lot of privacy settings already built in. It's FERPA compliant in that if you have it integrated with the LMS, then only those people within your school are going to be able to see the student's full name. You can always unshare it with somebody. So even if you've given somebody permissions and you've given them every single permission, you can always get rid of those. And when you first create one, it is automatically set to private. You have different permission levels that you're allowed to give people. So you can either let them just view it, you can let them view and comment on it, or they can view, comment, and edit, meaning that they can actually add slides to the VoiceThread that you've already created. And you can just do a copy link and share that link, or like I said, if you have the Pro Edition, then you'll be able to share with your contacts and with your groups. This is where VoiceThread is different than other presentation tools, because once you have actually created this VoiceThread and you've shared it with others, what's nice about VoiceThread is this ability to be able to do asynchronous conversations with others and to have this collaboration and this communication across the cloud and across time and whatever. People can simply just add individual comments. They can reply and they can create a threaded comment that is forever long. There are the amount of comments that can be added to each slide is unlimited. And so people could continue adding to this one for as long as the VoiceThread was open and people were actually participating in it. You can also add different types of replies as an instructor or as a creator of the VoiceThread. If you are the creator, you have the actual ability to do a direct reply, which is nice because you can interject in a conversation and bring the conversation back to whatever you were wanting to focus on. And so you could it'll automatically put a new one wherever you want it to. Instead of other commenters, it'll get added to the bottom of the list. But as a creator, you can go and interject right here and it'll show your comment and you can say, okay, let's refocus and bring the discussion back to this comment because this was a really good one. You can also do private replies, which is really nice. If you want to give a student some feedback, instead of waiting for them to see maybe their grade posted in the grade book, if you have an LMS integration, they can actually, you can reply right there and they get it before maybe they even get their grade in the grade book. And you can give them some feedback like, okay, make sure that you expound upon this, make sure that you use good vocabulary, whatever. And then that threaded response is what everybody gets the option to be able to do as long as you have a pro account, to be able to continue the conversation and have multiple steps within it. Also, as a creator, you do have the option to do comment moderation, which means that nobody's comments will actually be shown until you give permission for those comments to actually be visible. But I always kind of warn my teachers not to do that because that requires you to be on top of things. You have to make sure that you're on there giving permission for it to be visible. Otherwise, students are not going to see any comments at all. And I always say you can always delete comments as a creator. And so that's a better option in my kind of book. Instead of having to be on it and give everybody permissions for their comments to be seen, just simply go ahead and let everybody's comments go in there. And if you need to, you can always delete some if you need to. So it is always a good idea to make sure that you have kind of a discussion with your class about what's expected out of them. And so I always think it's a good idea to make sure that you discuss what quality comments mean. There is a link on here to a rubric that's been posted, and there's a lot of them, but feel free to use that one. And I always think that it's a good idea to promote things with extra rewards instead of this is what you're going to be deducted for. So I have in the past put my students into groups, smaller groups, and then I give the entire class, I say, the group that has the best conversations, that have the most depth and the greatest participation and the most number of comments that are quality comments, get some kind of bonus at the end of the week. And we do several weeks worth of voice threads throughout my class. So there's always the opportunity for several different groups to get that bonus. So you can always also look at all sorts of different details that are available to you as the creator. You can look at your recent activity, which will show up in the upper right-hand corner with your name. And there will be a little drop-down menu, and it'll tell you how many people have actually participated in the last little bit. And you can view each of these activities by the date that they were created, the thread that they are on, like which voice thread they're commenting on, or you can actually switch and look at each individual student that's been participating. And what that will do is it's kind of nice if you want to count how many times a student has participated in a voice thread. You can view your activity by that specific commenter, and when you go to each one of their comments, it'll automatically jump through the voice thread, and that way you don't have to go and hunt and search for that specific student. You can also click on the little like hamburger in the upper left-hand corner, and there is a voice thread details, which is nice to make sure that people are participating because you can see how many times people have viewed it, when it was created. So I use this a lot because I give my students specific due dates. So if they don't have it created by a specific time, then they get a deduction. And so this helps me to check and make sure that it was actually created on time. And you can also see exactly when they added comments. So they might have created the voice thread at a specific time, but then they came back in and added comments after the fact. Maybe you deduct points for things being late, like I do. And so this was a really nice feature for me to make sure that they were doing it on time. So if you have a pro account, one of the most beneficial things that is available to you is this ability to group your students. And VoiceThread makes it easy. You go into edit it, and you go into your different members, and you click on create a subgroup, and it asks you how many subgroups do you want, and you can apply custom names if you click that box and name them whatever you'd like. And I would recommend, if you are interested in using VoiceThread, you do the free account and you kind of check it out and you find out that you really like it and you think that you can incorporate it in your own course, then I would probably go with this Pro Educator account because of this ability right here. If you have a class that has 90 students in it, like I do, because I have a class, all three of my classes put into one class within my LMS. I have 90 students all brought in from Moodle. And because VoiceThread has some restrictions on grouping that is built into your actual LMS, I have all of my students come in from that one, and there is no breaking up by different subgroups. So I have to create these groups in here and within VoiceThread, because if not, I have all 90 students making 6 comments, and then it gets tedious, like reading through them. Nobody wants to do that. Students are not going to take the time to do that. It also slows the computer down quite a bit, and then students can't see the comments that they're making and all sorts of different things. So I like the grouping feature. I feel like if they have the ability to talk in smaller groups, then they're going to have better discussions and be more likely to actually participate. All right, so we've talked about some of the features that VoiceThread has available for you. So now let's talk about maybe why it's beneficial for students and how you can incorporate it in your course. So VoiceThread is definitely universal design for learning. It definitely incorporates the values that are built into this, because students have the ability to add different types of comments based on how comfortable they feel. If they don't have, if they don't want to add a voiced comment, then they can type it, or they can do a video comment if that's what makes them more comfortable. And you also have the ability to add a lot of different types of media. And so it makes people more creative, and it makes people more expressive in the ways that they feel comfortable. There's a video here linked to this slide on how VoiceThread specifically is promotes the UDL pillars, but I won't show that to you guys now. It's also accessible in other ways because it's compatible with a lot of different types of tablets, computers, with your phone. There is an app that is available for tablets and for your phone, but I will tell you that these 3 videos that they have shown here are the only 3 videos that are available for the app. I think that they are working on the app, and they will make it more robust in the future. But for right now, I would focus more on creating and commenting with my computer than with the app. You can upload and you can add comments with the app, but it's not as intuitive and it's not as easy as it is with the computer. It is a cloud-based, so it is HTML, it's Flash-based, and they do have an HTML version that is available that makes it even more accessible for screen readers, and it's called VoiceThread Universal. They also have closed captioning that's available, and you can either upload your own closed captioning files that have it already written out, or they are paired with 3Play Media, Amara, and Caption Sync, and so you can use their third-party integrated services if you'd like. So I have found, these are some of the ways that I have started using it in my own course. I have, like I said, allowed students to do online presentations, which they really like, because that way they don't have to get up in front of the class. They can record their comments as many times as they need to until they get it perfect. Another thing that I have tried is I have allowed students to do feedback sessions, and that's been really interesting. They have a variety of ways that they can present their topic, and then they get feedback from other students, and it really does promote kind of a conversation, and it doesn't necessarily all have to be done during class. There are some negative things that students have said about VoiceThread. And some of the main things that I have found are when it is incorporated with an LMS, but they're working on it and things are always bound to improve. Some of the main things are when they actually go to submit assignments themselves. So we'll get into that a little bit more when I go to the LMS stuff. But here are some other ways that I have used VoiceThread within my own classroom. And one of the first ones that I do is to do a syllabus presentation. So I upload a picture of my syllabus, each page of my syllabus, as a single slide within my VoiceThread. And then I go in and add either video or audio comments. And then I also open it up once I share it. I give students the opportunity to add their own comments so that if they are unsure about a specific section, they can actually interject on that slide that shows that specific section, and they can ask a comment right there. I've also had students do introductions where they add a slide to a VoiceThread that I've already created, and maybe I give them, say, use an appropriate meme that shows how you feel about mathematics or something along those lines. I am a big fan of discussion forums, but I have recently switched a lot of my discussion forums to VoiceThread instead, so that they have the ability to bring in different types of media, and so they have the ability to use audio or video comments instead of just text comments. But like I said, if you're going to do that, make sure that you require a variety of types of comments, because otherwise they will stick straight to text and it'll be like just reading a regular discussion forum. Another thing is for them to describe their thinking on an individual problem, or be the kind of group authority on a specific type of assignment or a specific topic or whatever. Peer reviews and online presentations. And then I've also put a link in here to the Teaching and Learning Innovations Faculty Showcase, where there are a lot of different variety of resources. And here you can think about how you might use it in your own. I'm going to quickly go through LMS integration, because I know that we're coming up on time, and most of you are not going to use this unless you your entire school decides to adopt it. So I'm just going to be quick with this. What's nice about it is it does get brought in as an external tool, but what's bad about it is there are no grouping options. So you can set it up and add a description, and based on whatever LMS you're bringing it in from, you have different options in there. But what's nice is it's going to be integrated with your gradebook automatically. So as soon as you give a student an assignment and you grade it within their grading feature, this will automatically populate in your own gradebook. Notice if you are Moodle based, then you see right here that there aren't any restrictions based off of groupings. But hopefully that's coming up with the next integration or next kind of update with LMSs. And if you do have an integration, then what you will see when you design and set it up, you will actually have the ability to give them different options. You have, the course view, which is just for your individual course, and it'll show all of the different voice threads that have been shared with you or with the student itself from that course. you can link to a specific VoiceThread. So if you only want the student to be able to go to that one specific VoiceThread, you can put a link there on your course page using that feature. The home button is going to show students all of the different VoiceThreads from your class, but also any other classes on campus that use VoiceThread as well. But what's mainly beneficial, or what the best thing is, in my opinion, about the integration with an LMS is this assignment builder. And with the assignment builder, you're going to get the ability to add a create, a submit, or a watch assignment. And so each one of these has different abilities and different levels of user interaction. The watch obviously is going to be the one that doesn't require anything except for students just to watch it. The students can also be required to submit a comment, and you can specify how many comments. And then you can also have them create, which I think is the most complex. You have to be very careful when you set these up, because you cannot change the wording at all once you set it up. And so that was what that last thing was showing. So the create, like I said, is the hardest for the student, but the easiest for you. All you have to do is click on the create assignment, type in the directions. Be very careful with typing these in because they cannot be changed. And then you hit create assignment. And then it's put on the actual user to set up and design their VoiceThread and share it with you and submit their assignment. The comment option allows students to add comments, but like I said, there's only going to be a restriction on how many comments they're required, not on which slide they have to add it to, and not on the type of comment that's required. Like, they could add all text comments and it would give them credit as long as they reach their minimum number of required comments. And then the last one is a watch assignment, which is kind of nice if you were in, say, a flipped classroom. You can make students actually just watch all the way through this entire assignment. And if they don't watch it all the way through, it won't allow them to hit the blue submit button. Once students have begun actually submitting or creating and submitting their assignments, when you pull up an actual grading rubric, then it looks like this, and you could click on each one of these students. So if I clicked on this student, it would show all of the different comments that that student made. And in this box that you can't see, I could type in there a percentage out of 100, and it would automatically adjust it in your own grade book if you had different settings, like it was only worth 10 points or whatever. But this will always be out of 100%. It'll also show you any students who have not submitted, and you actually get the ability to email all of them all at one time, or email each individual one to remind them, which is shown here on this next page. You can send them a reminder, and it automatically populates this nice message for you, which is nice. You don't have to take the time to do that. And most of the time, what students forget to do is to hit this blue submit button. So you also have these other options, like I said, when we were first setting up the VoiceThread, and those are mainly for, those are going to be your non-graded activities. And the main reason why I would use those is simply as a link to get back to the actual course page. And this is what a student sees when they go to submit an assignment. So they will see the VoiceThread that they're required to watch, or they're required to comment, or whatever, unless it's a create assignment. Those look a little bit different. And it'll show the description and the directions here that you've typed in. And then the very last thing that they'll need to do is hit this blue submit button. And once they do that, it'll say return to your course, and you go back, and it'll take them back into your Moodle or As You Learn or whatever. So like I said, with the LMS, the worst thing is that there isn't that integration with the grouping, but hopefully that is coming. It definitely has restricted me because I teach with all of my students being brought into one single course, so I don't have to create multiple courses of the exact same thing. But it has definitely hindered me. It has made my life super hard, but I've found workarounds, and there are some different things you can do. You can add individual assignments for each group, but that makes your course page messy, and it makes your gradebook messy. You can also just add links to the actual assignments themselves. or to their groups, and put them within groups within your LMS and restrict each one of those by each of those different groups. There's ways around it, but hopefully they are going to come up with something easier in their next integration. The very last page that I have here is simply just some resources and support options for you guys. I'm trying to get through this quick, so if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But feel free to look through these. There's all sorts of different tutorials, handouts that you can give to your students, information on integration with LMS, or just best practices. And they do have a YouTube channel that has lots of good videos. Also, here's my contact information. I am happy to answer questions now. So Daryl has been kind enough to monitor the chat. If there are any that you have noticed there, Daryl, that I need to address, or if you want to just turn on all the microphones and let anybody ask.
Yes, I can unmute all the microphones, but also there was a question: is VoiceThread ADA accessible with your experiences?
So yes, because they do have that option. If a student has screen readers, then they have that universal, and it'll automatically take them to that. And it is that program is going to be where everything is HTML and it reads it directly. It's not going to have any of that extra media on there that makes it harder for screen readers to be able to use. Does that answer your question? Whoever had that? Okay. Okay, good. It did. All right. Is there anybody else who has any other questions? And I'm happy to share the PowerPoint. I see that in the chat. I will totally make that available. I'll make sure when Emory posts all the videos of the actual conference, I will make sure that he has that there. But I'm also happy to, I don't know if I can post it within here. Oh, I can. Give me just a second. Let me, I will send it to you guys right now. All right, it should be shared there for you. It might take just a second for it to load. It's kind of a big presentation. But within that one, feel free to use it. It has all the directions on how to create a voice thread. It also has all of the links to the videos themselves. I'm sorry if some of them did not play. And I see maybe there wasn't any sound for a couple of them. I do apologize. It might be because I'm wearing headphones. But I hope that this has been beneficial. And if there are any last minute questions, I'm happy to entertain those. No problem, Stacy. Good. I hope you guys got something out of it. Y'all have a wonderful rest of the day, and thank you so much for joining me.